Hello, I'm Malcolm Hazlitt. How much do we all know about multiple sclerosis, or MS? Well, until I met our two guests, not a whole lot. In this episode, we get to learn the good and the bad of what it means to our guests. Coming up now on OurTime. I'm delighted to welcome to OurTime Teresa de Gennaro and Luke Wagner. They both have a respective backgrounds in performing and working with the MS organisation. So, Teresa.
Yeah, hello.
Let's come clean. Hello.
Hello.
You actually have MS.
Yes, I do.
And that's been a hard thing for you to say.
Yes, I've had it since 1996, and I've kept it undisclosed for most of those 20 odd years.
Luke, is this common for people who are suffering? Because you work with the MS organisation, don't you?
Yeah, I work for the MS Society of South Australia. The thing is, disabilities and conditions don't discriminate, but people do. And that's why so many people keep it to themselves, because they're worried about what's going to happen to their careers, to their opportunities. And it's really good that we're living in a time now where there's more access to supports and research and things like that.
But also people understanding what it is.
Yeah, that's it. And understanding what something is the battle.
So let's get two perspectives. You at the beginning, when it took forever to be diagnosed, is that right?
6 years.
And what did you feel? What was happening to you?
Well, the first main symptoms was like an incredible fatigue. That was the first thing. The second was losing sensation in my hands, and also accompanied by pins and needles and burning sensation. And then it was with my feet and my legs. So those were the three main things that happened.
And you were going through uni at the time.
I was.
And also through the drama centre here at Flinders Uni.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that? How did you manage to get through those times?
How did I manage? Good question. I think being physically active was really important. So I was making sure that I had a lot of muscle tone, and during that acting course, we did dancing every morning, so that really helped me out.
Is it exercise? That was stretching as well, I guess.
Stretching and dancing and
mind over body sort of thing.
Yeah, and meditation was a huge part of it.
Really?
I have to say, especially when I was getting symptoms of pain and still do, meditation has always been the thing that's helped me kind of detach myself from the pain being so severe.
Is this a common story?
Look, I think a diagnosis can be really difficult to come across for MS. And I mean, in my division, I don't get to work with our client services team as directly. But the research that I've done and the training that I've done as part of coming on board with the society, it's that symptoms are so diverse with MS that managing the symptoms is really what most of the treatment can be.
And that's what's so hard in diagnostic.
Exactly, because the symptoms could be masked as so many different things, and that's why it's so important that we can fund research into understanding MS even more than we do. So.
Right. There's a side story, and that's your story.
Yeah.
That you had a DNA test.
I did, yeah. So I did last year for Christmas. I bought myself a DNA ancestry test kit, and I did that test and sent it all off and thought nothing of it.
But there was a reason that you did that.
Well, I did it because I grew up with my mum and my brothers and sisters, but didn't know my dad or that side of the family, and didn't have many answers around what was happening over there. So I did this test kit, and it was on Australia Day this year that I got an email saying, here's your test results back. You're 33% Scottish, and this is your brother. And I'm like, what? So I got linked with this guy who happens to be my brother, and we connected online, started chatting, and he's like, yeah, well, Dad just lives down the road. So I was like, oh my God, that means I've found my dad. So got to make all these connections, and I've now met this fantastic family.
Isn't that amazing? Now, I'll bring up these two things because both of you are involved in doing some performances about your story and your story.
Yeah,
but before we get to talk about those, just a little bit more about you. So how have you masked? Because I've seen you, I think I met you first in the early 2000s playing Muriel Matters, playing the role of Muriel Matters, who had an enormous effect on women getting the vote. And at that time, all the stuff that you did, I had no idea that there was anything that was causing you pain or grief or because it was such a strong performance. It stuck in my mind. But you told me a really interesting story about the other girls that were working on the show and moving it around. Just pursue that for a moment. How did you fudge your way around having on tour where everybody pitches in to move props and
it was difficult, I have to say. I think I probably, I'm a very personable kind of person, but I became quite introverted and kept to myself. So when you meet people and you're doing a show together, you might go for a walk, to lunch, and I'd have to always, decline things like that. And, I just want to, read a book or whatever it be. I would, kind of distract myself.
But they would have been packing up things. How did you not help?
Well, usually after doing a show, the audience members want to talk to you. And so I found myself talking to the audience members and lingering a little bit longer with them.
Saying, come on,
and I did have back problems too. So I would, put in that I had back problems, or when I'd start to limp when I got tired, I'd say that it was a netball injury. So I pretended that I had all these injuries or these excuses. Acting. I was always pretending, and as for, living with constant pain as well, I think I've just developed a kind of persona that pushes through, I guess a tenaciousness that I just got to put on the smile and keep going. The show must go on kind of thing.
With the help that you're giving people, how does this come to them? Do they apply to the MS Society? What happens?
Yeah,
if somebody has just been diagnosed with this, are they given the tools to know where to go next?
Well, it can be a real minefield, and we've got teams of nurses, we've got OTs, we've got physios, we've got nurses that specialise in everything from mental health to the physical stuff. So a referral comes into those guys and they are really good at supporting them to come up with a plan. And then, depending on the goals of the individual and where they're at in life, my team, we do the employment side of things. We help people with a disability get into the workforce. So that support can be so varied and so wide, and it's all about that individual sitting next to you, the person you're talking to, and what they need at that given time. So,
yeah, that's interesting, what they need at that given time. Have your needs fluctuated over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always been a roller coaster. Again, the pain aspect has always been there, and the fatigue.
Are you in pain now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hands and feet mostly, even on my face. It's around my skull. Yeah.
Can you describe what type of pain it is?
It's very hard to describe, but the closest thing that comes to it is a pins and needles or a burning or a feeling of it being red raw, that feeling that it's sensitive to touch, but yet at the same time, it's numb. That's, the constant. And sometimes it's sharp daggers,
And that's the thing, that some of the symptoms are so invisible that people would easily overlook and go, well, she's fine. But it's important to be able to own that and say that, I need some help or I'm in pain, because the expectations can't be the same when you're fighting a battle that's different to what everyone else is doing.
Yes, that's what must be really, really difficult for the providers and the people trying to help. But you had a dream.
Oh, I did.
What was your dream?
To go to Hollywood.
And?
And I went to Hollywood. I did. I was very lucky to get a working visa to be able to stay there for a year to work.
Did you have to come clean that you had MS?
No, I didn't.
They didn't ask?
I didn't. I remember speaking to the lawyer about it, but they said that it shouldn't have any bearing on. There's no reason to put it in the application.
Right.
And the application had to go through the film and television, what are they called?
Oh, through the union over there.
The unions, that's right. So I had to go through the unions.
So as a little girl, you never stopped performing?
No, like for my family, I only once went to calisthenics for 6 months, but growing up I never had any talent school training. I was just, it was just me in the garage or in the lounge. Copying music videos.
Yes, with the music videos playing in the background, doing what you saw.
Yeah.
And then you decided you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah, I did.
So you went along to audition.
I went to acting school. I went
Did you
to
have any
audition.
luck with your
The
first
first
audition?
year, my first audition, I didn't get through, but I got right near the end, and the people that were close to getting in were then accepted to do a workshop. So my first year at uni was doing this practical workshop, acting workshop, and then from that, 4 people were chosen to be in the.
So you finally got into
and I finally got into it that way, yeah.
Right. But you weren't singing like professionally or even thinking that singing would be a career.
No, because I sang a lot at home, and all I was told from my brothers was that I didn't sing very well. So I didn't know if I sang very well, but I loved to do it.
That's a familiar story.
And then when I was in acting school, we had training, and at the back of the class, my voice is just booming because I've got a big voice, and I learned all these techniques that allowed this voice to be set free.
To come out. There's so much more to this story with both of these two lovely people, and we'll be back in a tick to tell you. Our guests on this episode are Teresa de Gennaro and Luke Wagner. We're just talking about your dream to get to Hollywood, and you got there.
Yeah.
And you did lots of bits and pieces. Just a quick list of what you did.
Quick list, I was in 3 television shows. I was in a couple of music videos. I did my own music video, wrote my own song with some people, some cabaret performances. I was also a professional clacker.
I love that. I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, professional clacker is...
Spill the beans.
Yes, it is the person in the audience who is clapping and vocalising. Woo! Yeah! So that was my main bread and butter. And also I did pet sitting as well. That was another thing.
But another thing is that we haven't mentioned that you also did some cruises as a singer-performer on the ship.
Yeah.
Worked in the UK.
Yeah, Greek
for
Islands.
all in this period that you've had MS.
Yes, yeah. I was going overseas with my bag mostly full of medication, a few bikinis, and I'd just be travelling the world.
This was for the boat.
This was for the boat, and
you
even
weren't
when
wearing those in.
So yeah, I've when my periods of time have been good and my body's been well, I've just made the most of my life. Yeah.
It's a really inspiring story. How difficult is it for someone to be helpful to people at times like this, for you? Because you're trying to find placements for people who can work and who want to work.
It's really challenging. I think if you're in any kind of job that requires you to assist someone else or be a support for someone else, the most important thing is to be supportive of yourself. So we have a lot of stuff with our teams internally. We have Wellness Wednesdays where we all get together, and we've got a lady in one of our offices who gives everyone a wellness tip. We do Fun Fridays, so we make sure everyone has a little bit of a laugh and some fun, and of course I make them play games and do ridiculous stuff because I can't be too serious all the time because that would be boring. But
it wouldn't be you though. No,
that's right. And I think if I'm, my job, I'm really lucky to be in a role where I get to be a leader in the organisation and to manage our Southern Adelaide region, and my style of leadership is all about making people feel supported and excited to come to work so that they can be supportive and exciting for the people they get to help, because it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be in a position to help someone. We're really lucky to be able to do what we do.
I can understand that. But what about your background? Because you're also a performer.
I am.
Singer, funny man, and radio presenter.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the radio first.
Yeah, well, that kind of came out of a bit of left of field kind of thing. So I have a show on Friday nights on Tribe FM, a community station down in Wollonga, and my friend David and we went along to be guests on someone else's show, and they said, "You guys are quite funny, you should pitch a show to the station." So next thing we knew, we were doing training and learning how to use the desk and everything, and we were on air with our show called The Check-In. So Friday night, we just, for 2 hours, play cheesy pop music, and we chat mostly about drag queens, and we play games, and we've got a couple of regular segments now. Lukey Okie is popular, where a segment gets pulled out of a sandwich bag, and I've got a week to learn a song, which I then sing on next week's show.
Right.
So I'm learning one this week. So,
Well, a couple of shows ago, we were talking about community television and how
Yeah.
important community television is, as in fact is community radio, because
Yeah.
it's how you actually find out what's happening in your part of the world.
That's right. And with things, 2020 has been an interesting year with, we like to support a lot of community events. So we created a segment on the show called our What's Not On guide. So we just kind of picked what's not on anymore, and we just got more ridiculous. So they were good fun ones to put together.
So just getting back to this show that you're putting together about your life, that's another side of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this will be the second one-man show I've done, and the first one was very comedy-driven, and this one's still going to be funny because, when you're talking about your family, that's always going to be quite funny. But this one's kind of, especially my family.
Well, you have an unusual family.
That's right. But this time it's kind of, it's been interesting because as I've been writing it, it's kind of been shaping itself, and you can see where the funny moments are coming, and you can see where the kind of more poignant moments are coming, and it's been really, it's almost been therapeutic to write this. It's been really enjoyable.
Therapeutic what? For coming to terms with yourself or the direction of your life?
Well, I think it's
'Cause
always...
You've done a lot of helping people in your life.
Yeah, and I kind
You've
of...
been a professional helper.
Yeah, that's very true. I kind of take the time to see things from my own perspective, but if in a weird way, like to sit down and go, oh, when I think about my older sister, what are the things that stand out, and what's important to me about my relationship with you? And I think it's been really helpful for me to really find out what's important in life for me. And for me to kind of, I feel like I'm about to enter a really new chapter in life at the moment, this independent phase, and very exciting. So, it's a good way to
called growing
close
up,
that
and
chapter.
we never stop.
That's right, yeah. And, because I'm going to be 21 this year, Malcolm, so...
Really? You look much older.
I definitely do look much older than 21.
It's the hairy face.
That's right, it gives it away.
Teresa, for you, what's your next stage in life, do you feel? What are you doing next? What are you working on now? Well, you're working on a show too.
Yeah, I am working on the show.
And the show is called?
Alien in LA.
And why is it called that?
Because the visa actually that I got to go over there was called the O1, Alien of Extraordinary Ability. So it was very validating visa to be able to have. And also the fact that, I was on my own in this, I felt like I was on a movie set just walking down the street.
I'm sure you would have.
And it was, I was alien to this whole new world, and it was
There's a song.
very... I
Is
feel
that
like
in
I
the
was
show?
about to start singing.
I hope you have that
Don't let
friend
it
somewhere.
stop you.
No, it's all right.
No, but in the show, you've got a set of chairs. Why is that?
Because a lot of my life has been, where's the next chair? Where can I sit down? Because standing hurts. So
Yes.
I thought I'd incorporate that in, and there's a lot of resting that happens.
So what happens if you, for example, go shopping? How can you sit down when you're shopping?
Shopping is an interesting one. I've got like a little deck chair that I take with me to the supermarket and pull that out when I can't stand any longer and sit there and feel a bit embarrassed.
Is that a common thing?
This is where there's some really exciting companies that are coming up with innovative ways to support people with any kind of health condition or disability to make life a little easier. So, things like attachments to a shopping trolley that flip out to a seat,
Oh, wow.
Things like that that are,
I want
there's things like
that.
this that are being developed, and, there's some great companies. So, keep an eye out for what comes out.
Well, I was surprised when you said to me that a wheelchair wouldn't go astray.
Well, I only 2 weeks ago, I got my wheelchair, which I was supposed to get 2 years ago. But finally, through bureaucracy, I've gotten this beautiful looking chair, and I've used it twice to go to the supermarket and to go clothes shopping. And I can't tell you the sense of freedom and the calmness I could feel, just like being able to grab products and read the back of them and not have to be like, hurry up, grab what I want and quickly, where can I sit? There's a long line there, and be full of stress.
See, I'm bewildered with hearing this. I had no idea. And I'm sure you probably had no idea that this was the case either if you don't know anybody with MS. I had no idea that you went through these things because you put such a wonderful face to the world. Again, is this common?
Yeah. People out there are doing amazing things with so many different conditions. And, in particular at the moment, mental health, so many people fronting up to their lives and their day-to-day jobs with anxiety and PTSD and all these kind of things. It's really important to remember that you're not on your own and there's people out there that can help.
But not only that, there's probably somebody out there that's worse off than you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we find the darkest times, we forget there are people in even worse, worse places, worse conditions.
That's it. Any kind of significant health condition can be really isolating, and people feel like, the only person experiencing these kind of struggles is so intensely. So, I think it's really important that we connect people, our clients, with each other so that they can share stories and share successes and how they can go about life and really achieve what they want to achieve.
So, Teresa, your show is about your life and how you've coped with MS, but it's not a black story, is it?
No, I hope to inject comedy within it.
But there's more than that in it, because you're not asking for sympathy.
No.
What are you asking for, do you think?
I think I'm asking for maybe understanding, and hopefully I can give education to help break down the stigma of having a disability, because I've been so shameful about it for so long, feeling like I'm just, not a valuable member of society, where in fact I am and I can be.
Oh, in your experience, you're teaching singing again, which is lovely to know.
Yeah.
As I said to you before, I'm a fan. I saw you a long time ago and I've seen you work in quite a few shows since then. No idea, but just a brilliant job. We're going to come back in a tick, and we'll talk just quickly about where your shows can be seen and the rest of the story, and we'll see you in a moment. Our guests on this episode of Our Time are Teresa de Gennaro and Luke Wagner. Luke, if people have MS or in fact any other disabilities connected with that, what do they do?
Yeah, people can call us at the MS Society of SANT or Multiple Solutions Employment Services on the number at the bottom of the screen.
And the same thing would apply in Victoria as well?
Well, we're South Australian based, so we can assist in South Australia.
But there's still an organisation there?
Yeah, check for your local supporters and providers over there.
Just Google's wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Answers everything for us.
It does. Now, these shows that you're doing, what are they and when are they? Each show is only an hour. Yep. You're doing a show by yourself about your life, Alien in LA, and you're doing a show called
Upper Middle Child.
Because you are.
Yes, because I couldn't have the middle child role on my own. Had to share that.
And
with a few.
Where are the shows on?
They're going to be on at the Star Theatres as part of the back-to-back short show festival.
In Adelaide?
Here in Adelaide, yeah.
Yeah, last 2 weeks of October.
Yeah.
And obviously you've been working on these. You wrote your own piece.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of people working with you to make it happen.
Yeah.
Just as a quick idea, you're singing in the show as well as telling stories.
Yes.
You're doing the same.
Yes.
Is it music that people will know? Is it sort of popular songs and stuff along with your story?
Mine are definitely associated, songs that I associate with those members of my family, and there's stories attached to them.
And yours?
And mine's a combination of original material and songs that we know. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing them both. And I hope that you've enjoyed meeting these two lovely people and learning a little bit more about MS, because I've learned a lot. So until next time we meet, keep yourself nice till then. See you soon.